everybody for the People's Church of Divine Prophecy. Thank you for choosing to be here today, especially since I'm speaking. I'm the pastor, Reverend Steve Adkins. I'd like to have Diane light the candles today, symbolizing the unity of body, mind, and spirit. Please stand for the invocation and remain standing for the first hymn. Take an attitude of prayer. Dear Father God, we give thanks for the gathering here in your name. We give thanks for the freedom and the love and the hope. May we feel your joy and blessings during this service and carry them forward throughout the day and week. Amen. The next session is a reading by the pastor or co-pastor, and Ron has agreed to do that today.
Yes. Good morning. I forgot my flute, though. Quick story. A lot of you know that Jody and I are moving next week to Texas, and so we're kind of in disarray. She's got the list going. She goes, "Did you remember this? Did you forget about that? What about this? What about that?" And so it's scattered, and I'm a last-minute Ron. So Jody's the organizer in the family. She's the one that gets the list down and says, "Hey, what about this? And remember to get that. We're going to put that in there. We're going to leave it here." So we go through all those things. But in the midst of all that, I left my phone in the truck last night. So Steve called and says, "Hey, could you give this part of the service, and could you bring your flute and play that song?" So apologize for the flute, but I will be back, like Arnold says. Share a little story with you. I travel on the road a lot, and this past week, a couple of Sundays ago I gave a lecture on the seasons, right? The 4 seasons. And this is just another chapter in life. Everything that we do every day is another chapter, right? Another page in your book of life. And I wanted to share this story with you because it really has pertinence about coping. I had a bookstore over in the Panhandle I had to go to, and it was a bookstore for children, for school supplies and things of that nature. Well, is in her early 40s. Her husband committed suicide 2 years ago, and because of that, she has done what? She has blamed herself. Okay? And that's called the blame game. Well, I must have not done something right here. And that's not the case at all. He had issues, I'm sure. And he had a reason. Come to find out in the conversation that her sister-in-law's husband, 5 years before that, had committed suicide himself into the darkness. And I met Cindy and Symphony was her name, not spelled like the symphony, but Symphony, who went by Cricket. And I said, "Gosh, so she's not coming back to the store." She says, "Well, we haven't, she's hardly at all comes in now. She's just totally mourning. She's been to counseling. She's been to a lot of these things." And the reason that I'm sharing this story with you, because this is where the strength comes in. Little Cricket looks at me, and I'm guessing Cricket's probably in her 40-somethings. She says, "My first child, my first pregnancy was actually by my father." And I said, "Bless your heart." She says, "Yeah, I had it aborted." She's talking to me like, it's okay, right? She says, "Then I got married and I had an abusive husband who beat me. I had 2 children. Beat me, was verbally abusive. I finally got rid of him." And she says, "I don't get married." All worked up over this, blaming herself. I said, "I don't get it." She says, "I'm here to tell you, you can overcome anything." And I'm looking at her thinking, "Girl, you got a testimony," right? And I said, "Do you go to church somewhere?" She goes, "Oh, I do." She went to some Baptist church down the road here, she named, in the Panhandle. I was actually in Panama City. And she said, yeah, I do. I go to church. She says, I'm not like real active or anything. She says, but I believe strongly in God and I have a very strong faith. And I said, girl, you go. Because, right now, you're handing me one of the pieces of the puzzle. Remember the lecture last Sunday? I got a piece. See? It was, the message is, no matter how tough things are, you can overcome it. Through divine grace and through the love of God. And in knowing that we all know we're never alone. Because we have that God in us, right? That spark of God, that love of God that's always around. And she just said, yeah, I just don't get it. I said, you seem real happy. She's smiling the whole time she's talking to me. Big old teethy grin, just smiling at me. And I said, thank you so much for this, because she was my first appointment that morning, right? And I said, wow, I never know who I'm going to meet when I go into businesses, but this one was the blessing and one of the pieces of the puzzle that day that I walk away with for the rest of my life, because she impacted me. I thought, wow. And I've heard some stories, but that one was, whoa, right? That was tough. So what's the good news? God's great, God's good, God is graceful, and God is loving. And I'll leave that with you this morning.
Thank you, Ronnie. I'm going to ask Ashkhen to come up, and from now on she's going to be chairing the service because I'm going to be lecturing. She'll lead us in the healing portion to start with.
Good morning. Good morning. Our service is divided into 3 parts. The first part is the healing, the meditation, and the second part is the inspirational lecture. And the third part is the demonstration of the Spirit. So we want to start with the first portion of the service, which is the healing meditation. I ask the healers to take their positions behind the chairs back there. If anyone would like to receive hands-on healing, you can sit in those chairs, and as chairs become available for healing, you can just approach the healers and receive hands-on healing. And those who like to just sit through the guided meditation, I will be leading the meditation. Just find a comfortable position for those who are going to be sitting through the meditation. Close your eyes. And sit relaxed. If you hear the song or the sound of the spell, that means there is a chair that has become available for healing. Just go to the back and receive hands-on healing. Taking a few deep breaths. Make sure your feet are straight on the ground, your palms are up in your laps. There is no any tension or strain on your physical body. And allow your breath to just flow easily. And breathe in and breathe out. With each breath, feel your body becoming more and more relaxed. Let go of all the thoughts that are occupying your mind. Any worries, any concerns, just let it go. Bring your focus and your awareness to your breath. Just enjoy engage with your breath. Breathe in and breathe out. And feel your body becoming more and more relaxed. And your breath is taking you deeper and deeper within. Connect with this peaceful presence that is within. It is very quiet, calm, and soothing. Connect with this peaceful presence as you breathe in and out. You feel peaceful sensations filling your entire body, your mind, your spirit. Of God, mighty I am presence. I now call for the divine healing energy to be here at this time and to provide each one of us with the healings that we need for our mind, body, and spirit. As we call upon the law of forgiveness, we forgive all those who have hurt us. We forgive those who have caused us pain and suffering. We forgive those who have abandoned us, neglected us, disappointed us. We forgive and we detach with love. We let go emotions of fear, anger, resentment. We let go of whatever is holding us back from advancing the spiritual. We let go of situations, friendships, relationships that are holding us back from achieving our highest potentials. We recognize them now, and we let them go to the light of God that never fails. And we ask God the omnipotent, omnipresent, omniscient, to be in charge of our lives, our existence, our soul and spirit, while we are here in this physical plane and beyond. In the name of universal Christ consciousness, we ask for protection. And we accept it as it's done. While you are breathing gently, shift your awareness slowly higher to your forehead and become aware of your third eye in the center of your forehead that is active and open. And as you look through, envision brilliant golden light in a form of golden energy entering through your forehead. Spreading gently in and around your head. Healing your mental body. As you release and let go of all the negative thoughts from your cellular memories. See the energy cleansing and healing your mental body. It's circulating around your brain. Healing the neurons in your brain. And opening the communication between your right and left hemispheres. Allowing the information from your right brain to flow into your logical brain, your left brain, and to balance it. Focus for a minute on your right hemisphere. This is your intuitive brain. This is your intuitive, creative mind. This is where the divine knowledge and wisdom is stored. Become aware of your creative mind. That is the mind of God. And see it activated and in harmony with your logical mind, your left hemisphere. Now feel the energy moving down to your throat. Breathe in and breathe out and allow the energy to just move down. Clear and heal your throat chakra. Activating your throat chakra and enabling you to speak divine truth. To be able to express your divine truth. Feel the energy moving down to your shoulders, beautiful golden healing energy. Down to your arms, extending all the way to your fingers. See the energy coming back up and filling your chest, your back. Touching all the organs in your physical body, your emotional body. Release and let go emotions of pain, hurt, anger, resentment. And feel this golden energy is just washing away all these negative emotions. As it moves gently within you, it clears the blockages that are stopping you from being who you are. Just follow the energy as it moves down to your hips, your knees, down to your feet. See it going out through the bottom of your feet and anchoring you to the earth. Slowly start looking up again and see this energy is still coming through your forehead and rushing down your body, healing, clearing, balancing your body, your mind, your spirit. See this golden energy expanding outside your physical body and creating a beautiful big circle of golden light around you. See yourself standing in this beautiful golden circle of light. And take a look at your body inside this circle. It's cleansed, purified, balanced, and healed. See yourself like a brilliant sun, and you are projecting golden rays. See yourself as a brilliant golden source of light. Know that this is your origin. You are light. You are the light of God that never fails. Stand tall and allow your light to shine. And reach everywhere to fill this room and extend out to the sky. Fill the universe. See yourself as a brilliant light shining and creating shift. Shift in the consciousness of the earth and the humanity everywhere. Allow your light to shine and reach and be everywhere, enlightening the planet. Hold this vision in your consciousness and let it be printed. And see everywhere bright, beautiful, harmonious, peaceful. Let your light shine. Let there be light on earth. Let it begin with us. Let there be peace on earth. Let it begin with us. Let there be love on earth. Let it begin with us. See see yourself as a brilliant light shining. As you start coming back slowly to your physical body, know that this light is around you always and is part of you for eternity. Let your light shine wherever you are, whatever you do. Be the light that you are. Be the light that you are. As you let go of the vision and start coming back to your physical body, engaging your physical senses. When you're ready, you can open your eyes. Our speaker today is Reverend Adkins. He is the pastor of the People's Church of Divine Prophecy. Reverend Adkins is an ordained minister, medium, healer, teacher, and lecturer. He serves as pastor of the People's Church of Divine Prophecy, which meets every Sunday morning right here at Daytona Books and Metaphysics in downtown Daytona Beach. He has been a spiritual worker for the past 25 years, and he has worked in UK and USA demonstrating evidential spiritual existence and performing physical healing. It was Reverend Steve's vision to create a space for like-minded spiritual people to gather, to love one another, support each other, and heal each other, to be of an example to the world. I am very happy to be part of this church, and I am even happier that we are all growing together with love, peace, and harmony. So let us welcome Reverend Adkins.
Thank you, Ashkhen. Got some mixed emotions about today. Speaking today, it's been a real tough week. It's the end of the year, business year, where I work at a day job. We worked all day Friday, all night Friday, most of the day yesterday, and it's been a real busy week up to that, so I had quite a challenge getting ready for today. What I chose to speak on today was the currents of life, things that have occurred with me in the past, things that may occur with me in the future. I feel as if I've come out of a tunnel this week. You know, we've all had our heads down at times and just plowed through things until the light of day shone in, and it's been a challenge in every aspect of my life, personally, with my family, with my job, and with challenges to myself. It's been a week where it was proven to me that God's strength is there at all times if you choose to look for it and see it there. When I was getting very overwhelmed, I just stopped for a minute and meditated and brought in God's love and tried to just let things calm down. There's a lot of things out there we hear about in the world today about spiritual development, everything from Orthodox beliefs, Old World beliefs, to New Age beliefs. There's truth in all of it. You just have to sort out which one you want to embrace and how you want to embrace it. It really pretty much boils down to You hear about the dawn of the age of Aquarius. We've all heard that back in the 60s and 70s. It was a real big thing. And my feeling about that is in today's world, we're being driven to the limits of our belief. If we have spiritual beliefs, we're being driven to the limits of them and beyond. If we're caught up in the physical, we're being driven to the limits of that. And that does have limits. It pretty much boils down to some simple guidelines. Love God without reserve, love yourself without reserve, and love your neighbor. When you love God without reserve, that means that you have a trust for where you're being led and everything that goes on in your life, regardless of what it appears like on the surface. If you don't have trust as a crucible to hold that love of God in, it goes away. Trust is what holds that love and allows you to express it. You have to trust that God's with you no matter where you're at or what you're doing, even if you can't see what's going on in front of you. God uses all challenges in your life to move you down the path that's laid before you as your spiritual path of development. It's your choice whether you choose to move along it or stay in place. There was a time in my life about 40 years ago when I was incarcerated for about 5 years. In there I saw the worst humanity man had to practice, one on the other. You're in there with people that have committed the worst crimes on the face of the earth that you can imagine, to the simplest crimes. They put people in there for selling pot in there with people that murdered their whole families and everything in between. There's no boundaries between you and those people. You see them every day. You're in their face every day. And the institution I was in was a maximum security federal prison. They had people in there from the Malcolm X murder that murdered an entire family. They had people in there that were just the worst of the worst. And you're in there with them every day, face to face. And it's an institution that was designed for 400 people, and there were 650 people in there. So the space was even more challenged and more coveted. I had to defend myself physically and emotionally against what was going on in there. And believe it or not, I practiced yoga, Kundalini yoga, every morning from 5 till 6. I was a vegetarian while I was in there. So there is room for spiritual growth no matter where you're at. But you do have the right to defend yourself. You do have the right out here as well as in there to defend yourself emotionally, physically, and morally to where you feel you should be. And you should never sacrifice that right at any time. A humble person doesn't have to be on their knees. A humble person is somebody who is standing on their feet with that conviction of God with them, allowing others to be what they are, where they need to be at. Love yourself without reserve. Was I angry about being where I was at during that time? Absolutely. Was I frightened? Without a doubt. Was I on my own? Not really, because once I accepted my responsibility for my actions that put me there, and I deserve to be put there for some of the things I've done, I began to find my spiritual path, which is how I got into Kundalini yoga. Practiced it religiously every morning. Stopped eating meat while I was in there, which was a real challenge because it's pretty much a meat diet in that place. And stuck with my beliefs, and I think that's kind of what put a lot of the harder core people off in there. They just couldn't place me in a slot that they were familiar with. So they kind of left me alone a lot of the time. Not all the time, but most of the time, because they didn't know who I was or what I was. And you find that when you encounter people in your daily life. If you're spiritually convicted, convinced, spiritually guided, a lot of the people you run into can't seem to fit you into a slot because they don't understand that energy. A lot of people want to be spiritually convinced, but aren't willing to take the steps. They aren't willing to put themselves on the line for it and stand up for what they believe. When you love yourself without reserve, your spiritual development really begins. You trust yourself, you trust the guidance you're receiving, and you begin to see God in both the trying times as well as the positive times. Be joyful about your opportunities as they come to you. Look for God's guidance no matter how trying or how difficult it appears for you. Now, you're going to be human. You can't help but be human. You can't help but feel challenged and frustrated. But when you have that belief in God, you back up a step and go, where's God in this? And even if you don't get an answer, you feel a comfort in thinking that. You feel a relief of stress when you begin to think that way, even if you don't have an answer readily in front of you. A key factor in spiritual development for me has been when I set a goal for myself and I fall short of it, I don't beat myself up, go, oh heck, I didn't make it today. I said that when I shouldn't have. I acted that way when I shouldn't have. That's the biggest impediment to your spiritual development you can have, is when you beat yourself up because you didn't make that goal you set before yourself. 99% of the time, spiritual development is in the effort of reaching for things, not the accomplishment of it. You're pushing yourself to an ideal beyond what you're familiar with. So any movement towards that ideal is a betterment. It's an increase in your life. You're always going to have a spiritual goal further than you can reach. That's just the way spiritual things are. Don't feel bad when you fall short. Feel good that you made the effort. Feel positive about drawing to that belief system. This comes into a key factor which is called forgiveness of yourself. When you make things that you do things you don't feel you should do. Forgiveness is an odd thing. I could do an entire 2 lectures on that by itself, but I'll just summarize it to say that the key thing about forgiveness is to realize that you have to forgive before you understand. If you wait to forgive until you understand, you're never going to understand, because the act of forgiveness is a spiritual venture of truth and trust. Then comes the understanding, not the other way around. And as long as you understand that, you'll be able to forgive. The other part of forgiveness is to understand that because you have forgiven someone else, it doesn't require them to be ready to forgive you. It doesn't require them to accept your forgiveness. The act of forgiveness is a spiritual act just like charity, just like giving money to somebody who's down and out on their luck. What they do with that gift is their business. It's your spiritual duty to give that gift. What they do with it is strictly their karma, their trust, their belief. The other factor is love your neighbor. And you notice I didn't say without reserve, because if you could love your neighbor without reserve, you wouldn't have any need of this physical body, and you wouldn't have any need of being on this earth anymore. You'd be singing with the angels, because that's where a lot of the challenge comes in, is loving other people outside of you without reserve. Not just your family, but other people. My son said to me the other day he was really having a difficult time, as he's had a number of times. He says a lot of families cut him off because they don't agree with what he's doing with his life. And I'm about the only one that's still stuck by him. And he said, nobody else agrees with me but you. I said, you're mistaken in that, son. I don't agree with what you're doing, but I choose to support you anyway. He says, I have to do it myself if you're not with me. I said, no, son, you have to make the decision about your life for yourself. You must decide what you're going to do. I will not decide for you. I will help you unless it's really harmful to you once you make your decision about which path to go. But you must make your own decision. And this is what we have to do with people outside of us. We have to allow them to make their decision. That's how God works with people outside of us. They have to take the responsibility for their decisions. We can help, we can aid, we can still show love once they make their decision, but we cannot make that decision for them, because it's probably going to be the wrong one if you make it for them. People of good nature want to help those outside themselves because it's their spiritual nature to do so. It's their drive. Do unto others as you'd have them do unto you. The most profound statement of putting others' interests before yourself. That's a very difficult thing to do a lot of the time. People say a lot of the time, I shouldn't have been so kind. I'm too kind too often. I've had a number of people tell that to me. A friend of mine borrowed my truck and trailer when he was first starting his business, a little old small truck and an old beat-up trailer. And he called me up one day and he said, I got some bad news, Steve. I said, what's that? He said, well, I've been employing a lot of these people that are recovering from drugs, and I gave this one guy some cash in your truck and your trailer to go buy some materials. He said, that was 2 days ago. He says, I haven't seen him since. He says, I'm just too kind to people. And he really embarrassed me. I said, let me explain something to you. I said, if our friendship can't withstand a $500 truck and a $500 trailer, we got no friendship. I said, you should never feel bad about being kind to someone. What they do with it is their business. That you're driving as a God-driven person to be kind to people. Not judge what they're going to do with it, not judge the results of it. You're kind because that's what you're supposed to be. Coming here this morning, we have opportunities of kindness at every turn, at every day, at every moment if we look for them. Coming here today, I was coming out of the 7-Eleven. I saw some guy digging in a trash can. Your first impression is to turn your head and walk away. But I turned around and gave the guy $5. I said, go buy breakfast. He just lit up like nobody's business. He wasn't begging or anything. He was just digging in the trash can for salvage and stuff outside the 7-Eleven. Random acts of kindness. That's how you promote your love. That's how you keep that love growing. Without judgment, without thought of results for yourself. One of the greatest holdbacks to spiritual beliefs and embracing new spiritual understandings is what I call belligerence prior to investigation. That's where people say, I know all about that. That's not for me. That doesn't work. Belligerence prior to investigation. Instead of saying, I know, I'm convinced, say, what if? What if there's something there? Let's at least look at it and see what it's about, spiritual truths. On my way to spiritual awakening, I had the help of a Catholic priest. I had the help of a student. It's on again, and just got turned off. Spirit manifestation. On the way to my spiritual awakening, get another microphone. There you go. I guess that spirit telling me I've talked enough. So I guess I'll go ahead and close it myself a little bit now since I'm getting a nudge from Spirit. Life will always be life no matter how we act. Things are going to go on this earth. It's still going to be full of people who are difficult and trying. It's going to be full of people who are kind and supportive. You're not going to meet any different people because you step on a spiritual path. When you step onto a spiritual path, it becomes more difficult a lot of the time, not more easy, because you take on more responsibility for yourself. You take on a whole other level of responsibility. You can no longer ignore things and close your mind off. Anyone can see what's wrong with something. Anybody alive and breathing with eyes and ears can see something that's wrong. It takes a spiritual person to find solutions. Be part of the miracle, be part of the solution. In closing, I'd like to read something that I've read before. It's called Hiding Man's Divinity. The gods, having stolen from man his divinity, met in council to discuss where they should hide it. One suggested that it be carried to the other side of the earth and buried, but it was pointed out that man is a great wanderer and that he might find the lost treasure on the other side of the earth. One suggested that it be dropped into the depths of the sea, but the same fear was expressed, that man in his insatiable curiosity might dive deep enough to find it even there. Finally, after a space of silence, the oldest and wisest of the gods said, "Hide it in man himself, as that is a place that he will never think to look for it." And all agreed that this was a wise and subtle strategy. Man wandered over the earth for ages, searching in all places, high and low, far and wide, until at last, slowly, dimly, they began to realize that what he thought was far off, hidden in the pathos of distance, is nearer than even the breath that he breathes, even his own heart. Thank you.